Whatever the attempt was, whatever the intention was, silver did not see the uptick that we saw in Gamestop. Some of them made, a lot of money on this. I know people personally who have benefited very much from this trade.
Well, it's no different than Bitcoin. I didn't buy Bitcoin at $1.
Yeah.
A lot of these Bitcoin billionaires, are fooling their money are one big party. And the party is just starting, David. So all the young guys who are Bitcoin gamers, really, you look at GameStop, it's the perfect stock because most of the Robinhood and Reddit guys are gamers. And an old guy like me, I'm not a gamer. I barely know how to use my cell phone.
Yeah.
So these young kids are coming in and they're in hog's heaven because they've sat for years in their basement playing Atari or whatever the guys play. I don't know the game. There's going to be winners and losers, unfortunately. There'll be another Bezos coming up, another Steve Jobs coming up, another Warren Buffett coming up. But most of them will get their asses handed to them.
I want to talk about the silver squeeze and why you think it in many ways failed, because whatever the attempt was, whatever the intention was, silver did not see the uptick that we saw in GameStop.
Right, and the reason for that is silver is a real asset. Let that sink in. And GameStop is a fake asset. And so they're also two completely different markets. And I love silver and gold. I'm always talking about it. But silver is a real asset, and it's a $200 billion industry, whereas GameStop is probably $500 million. It's not an asset, and it's being chased by amateurs, Robinhood and Reddit, and they're not investors, they're gamblers. And and most of them are fairly young, and so they're going to learn the hard way, as all of us do. Before I was an investor, I was a gambler. I took high risk. I want to get rich quick and all this stuff. That's what's going on. But they're chasing a fake asset called GameStop. It has no real value. When you go into the silver market, you're playing with some big hitters out there. You look at, silver is used in solar, batteries, medicine, water purification, and all this. It is an industrial metal as well as a precious metal. And so there's a lot of people like the battery makers and guys like Tesla and Toshiba and Sony, they do not want the price of silver to go up. So it is manipulated. Mm-hmm. Everything is manipulated. JP Morgan just got nailed for manipulating. Mm-hmm. The big commodity banks, they would keep the price low because if the price of silver goes up, mm-hmm. It blows guys like Sony and Apple. It blows their model out of the water, same as Tesla. So they have to keep the price of silver down. Now, does that mean they can keep it down? No, because it really is supply and demand. And today, the supply is 80% of the demand. So there's 100% demand, 80% supply. And so every day, every year, the amount of silver is going down. And if you understand swaps and all that, many of the silver mining companies are in hostile territory. So silver, it's only a matter of time. So what the Reddit guys and the games or the Robinhoods couldn't do, supply and demand will do. It's just a matter of time right now. GameStop work because you're playing against amateurs.
Yeah.
When you're in gold and silver, you're playing against some of the biggest, richest guys on earth, the biggest industrialists. And silver is an industrial metal. When the Green New Deal comes in, and it is coming, I've made a small fortunes in Green New Deal stuff, but they're going to put a carbon tax on oil. And when they do that, the Green New Deal would take off, solar panels will come in, batteries will come in, medical supplies and all this. So silver, it's in the writing right now. Silver becomes more valuable and in shorter supply, less production. So it's all good as far as I'm concerned. So whether it's Reddit or Robinhood, we can't lose with silver or gold. So that's, again, silver is a $200 billion industry, and the biggest players in the world, the industrials who use silver, are in the market. They're playing in these Reddit guys and Robinhood guys, they're just young kids. Reddit and those boys, they're amateurs. You're playing against Sony, Tesla, the battery guys, and the medical industry. They do not want the price to go up. People don't know how much silver these companies burn a year. That's the wild card. You don't know if Sony is using 100 tons a year or 20 tons a year. But as we go to the Green New Deal, which we are, the demand for silver will keep going up, but the supply keeps going down. Mm-hmm. It's not a matter of manipulation. It's just hard supply and demand, and it's an industrial metal. Mm-hmm. So as soon as the price pulled back, I bought another. I like both. I like the hard asset the best. I keep it far away from me in storage. Right. By the way, I've been in silver since 1964. When I was 17 years old, when I saw the little copper ring going around my quarters and dimes, I knew Gresham's law had taken place, and they're stuffing fake silver into our currency. Same thing the Romans did. And so and then I've also started a silver mine in Argentina, and I started a gold mine in China. And the Chinese took my gold mine because I struck gold. So I have the scars to prove I'm an idiot. I know what I'm talking about.
Right. Well, do you think the Wall Street bet community should be moving into the silver in larger volume? Because, remember their ideology, I guess, behind the GameStop move is, look, we've got to stick it up to the big guys, the hedge funds. They've been unfair, shall we say, in the way they've been regulating the markets, controlling the markets. Like you said, you yourself said silver is manipulated. We've got to stick it up to the manipulators, right? We've got to band together and stick it up to them. But we're not seeing that right now. Is that what needs to happen?
Yeah, I think they caught the hedge funds sound asleep. That's what happened. It was like an ambush. And I think it's funny. I really think it's kind of funny. The sad thing about it, as I said in another tweet, is that the people that will pay for it are the pension funds. When the hedge funds were in the short squeeze, that's going to affect pensions. And as you know, pensions are our biggest threat looming on the horizon. So it's not just about silver or hedge funds, it's about the economy.
Yeah.
The reason Janet Yellen is in position of Treasury, she was a Fed official. And I think, and I could be wrong, that means Yellen they're going to go direct to MMT or UBI so they can pump money straight into the consumer. See, the problem with the system today is the only people that lend money to are guys like me, guys who don't need the money. And the guys that are hurting are the guys who have bad credit and yada, 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 yada. So they want to get the money to all those guys living in shelters and tent cities and all this. This is the Weimar Republic all over again in Germany.
If I understand correctly, you're saying the pensioners will suffer. That was my next question, actually, is what happens, let's say, the hedge funds need to cover their long positions. They're losing out. They need to sell their stocks. And these are large financial institutions. They need to sell their positions. Will that drag down the market? Do you think that would have any market-wide implications?
Obviously it will, because it's systemic, if you know what I mean. It's like if the price of oil goes up or down, it affects everything. Interest rates go up and down, it affects everything. Except that the Fed and the Treasury, they've played too many games. They're out. Everybody knows they're out of bullets. The question is, how long are people going to be playing past the buck? So our real competition as gold and silver people is not GameStop or silver, it's the Fed. Don't fight the Fed. They've become a communist organization. It's centralized government, it's centralized planning. They're printing money. This is the Weimar Republic. This is Venezuela. This is Zimbabwe. It's just that we're the reserve currency, we're the biggest military in the world. And I'll say it again, when Yellen took over the Treasury, you could see the writing on the wall. They're going to print.
But how could we target the Fed? We have trouble targeting the silver market. How can we target the biggest central bank in the world?
Well, they're going to change the rules. I could be wrong, but they're going to rewrite the charter of the Fed. It was 1913. The Fed came about because there was a panic in 1907. And then we had the Great Depression in 1929. And so we're back to 1907 again, and when the Fed was created. And I think Biden, Kamala, Yellen, and Powell are still there, they're going to open up the bylaws of the Fed and change the rules. That's what I think might happen. Now, that's good news for gold and silver. It's bad news for the economy. The problem with the Fed is don't fight the Fed. It's centralized. So as long as they can maintain their cools and keep it decentralized and halving and all that, the value of Bitcoin is security. I trust it. Mm-hmm. So, but am I counting only on it? No, I have all three. That's why every time they get into that food fight between Max Kaiser and Peter Schiff, I keep saying, why not do what Yogi Berra once said? When you come to a fork in the road, take it. So I own gold, silver, and Bitcoin. The other thing too is storage. It's a very, very big problem with gold and silver. So I don't have it stored inside the country. I have it outside the country because my first gold I bought was 1972 in Hong Kong. I was on an aircraft carrier, fighting for American capitalism. And I found out when I bought the Krugerrand in Hong Kong, I had to smuggle it into the country. And that's part of education. David, I go, now why is it I'm a smuggler for bringing in a gold Krugerrand into the country? And that was because I think in 1933, Roosevelt made it illegal for Americans to own gold. So I don't trust my own government. I trust gold, silver, Bitcoin. It's that simple. I'm a simple Marine. That's all I am.